Good evening, everyone. I hope you heal up soon, Sal. Being sick is never fun. And good evening, Gianna Marie, and everyone else who is here. Hope we all had a great weekend. As you can see on the screen, all the questions tonight on the True Crime Trivia are on Pee Wee Gaskin, the serial killer, Pee Wee Gaskin. And good evening, Cement Shoes. People have been wondering, where has Cement Shoes been? I hope you're doing well, Cement. Sketty Nona, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. 50 months. Thank you very much for being a patron of mine for 50 months. I really, truly appreciate it. Just your back. I'm sure I'll be fine eventually. Yeah, back problems suck, Sal. I've been there. They don't seem to fix themselves, with just resting up. But take care of yourself. Pippadot, Inner Peas, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. All the questions tonight are on Pee Wee Gaskin, the serial killer. Been sleeping a lot, under the weather? Well, I hope you get better soon, Cement Shoes. And Out of the Shadows with Ginger, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I try to sleep. I really do. Even when I'm sick, I try to sleep, but I can't. Just something about it, about me as a human being. I've just never been able to, sleep very well I can never take a nap. I mean, gosh, there's been plenty of days in my life, where I've wanted to take a nap and I've just never been able to. Was he a truck driver? Was who a truck driver? Sketty Nona? The only truck driver I know that's in the group. We have a couple of former ones, and the only one I know that's currently still driving a truck is Rykart. I mean, I'm sure there's probably more out there. It's just people that don't tell us exactly what they do for a living or have done. You've been I know I've been taking breaks from crime. Yeah, it can get to you after a while. I can understand that. Lemon Pie. Good evening, Lemon Pie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. All the questions tonight are on Pee Wee Gaskin. Pee Wee is actually his nickname. But we'll get into that tonight. The very first question is, what is his real name? But Pee Wee Gaskin is how he was known in popular culture and in media. So all the questions are on Pee Wee Gaskin tonight. We're going to give it another minute here, and then we're going to get the this party started. But I hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope you've been able to stay safe and warm. Been some wild weather out there lately. They're actually calling for a chance of snow where I live, which is rare. I mean, it's not every year we get snow in the wintertime. We didn't have any snow last year at all. But they're calling for chance of snow this week, Thursday and Friday. So who knows? And good evening, Pippadot. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. All right, let's get going. All right, this is the first trivia night of the month of February. So I'm going to go over some changes that have been done just artistically, and for how they're presented, because you need to remember that there are people who watch this trivia night on cell phones, on tablets, and on computers, and there are even some people who watch this on television. So some of the changes have been done to, and we'll get into it a little bit, but it's done to make it more eye appealing to people on different devices. Okay, so let's get this going. This is the 341st episode of True Crime Trivia. 340 episodes have been done. This is the 341st. Again, tonight all the trivia questions are on psychopathic killer Pee Wee Gaskin. This program documents actual crime by offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Neither I nor my advertisers or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. Nor additionally are we liable for the comments of live chat and messages, as they do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions. And the reason why I have to put that in there now is because I've heard from a couple of advertisers who post actual ads on this content after the fact, who are not appreciative of some of the comments that have been left on past live streams. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, I've had to go through manually each and every one of the live streams for trivia night and remove comments that were left after the fact. This has nothing to do with people who are actually here now, but people have been leaving comments on my content, particularly live streams on trivia night, after the trivia night is aired. So they've asked me to add that message to this. So that's why it's there now. All right, these are the changes. At the top of the stream, instead of it saying just trivia night, it now will say 411 now trivia night. Additionally, where it used to just say number 1 of 20, it now will have the word question and then a hashtag and then 1/of20. So it kind of condensed down, but it also expanded and actually, so you know what the actual question is. And then next to that will be the name of the actual subject. So where it says question in like a yellowish gold there, you'll see 1/22/20, and then the subject matter itself. Additional changes is the moth in the upper right hand corner has been muted in color, and so it's a little bit darker. For tonight only, this is not for every night. This is just for tonight. Words that are in yellow or in white in contrast in the box where the question is have been those are song lyrics, and you'll get, once that we come to them, you'll actually understand why there is lyrics there and what it actually it pertains to the actual question itself. Additionally, there is no more E box. It's A, B, C, or D. If you want to answer a comical answer or put your own in, you can do it as E. There is no other anymore. The other has been completely removed to remove any type of air where people think, well, it's got to be other as a possible answer, because I don't think it's any of those. I have removed it completely. So again, we are back to just doing A, B, C, and D as the possible answer. If you want to answer your own, 144,000, Yugo, meth smoking, mountain lion, whatever you want to put in is E. That is completely up to you now, and you add your own. All right. But those are the only changes besides the background color where it fades from dark to light. And in each of the boxes, you'll see where it fades from top to bottom is darker to lighter. And that is done. All this is done for artistic, reasons. So how it shows up on different devices and how it shows up on television mainly, because in larger screens, you're going to see it, different backgrounds and how it actually, the letters that are in white or in gold, how they, contrast against the darker versus lighter areas. Gone also, in which is not here with an arrow, is the box where the photograph will be. Has increased in size and no longer has a picture frame around it. Again, these are just small, minor changes. Nothing has changed about the actual layout besides these things here. With that said, let's get on to question number 1. And I'll get myself in my little window. All right. Question number 1 of 20. As you see, it says question 1 / and then 20. And then the subject matter, Pee Wee Gaskin. What is Pee Wee Gaskin's real name given to him at birth? Was it A, Richard Lee Gaskin, B, Richard Lee DuPont, C, Donald Henry Gaskin, or D, Donald James DuPont? What was Pee Wee Gaskin's name at birth? I'm blowing your mind, inner peas. I'm sorry. Question number 1. A bigger picture of the criminal. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not much larger. It's about 10% larger in itself. The box where the photograph is going to go. But again, the lyrics that will be, you'll see in the where the question is, are only for tonight. They're not going to be something that's there every single week. I might put them in here and there, but there you go. Lemon pie with the first E. Polly Lee Shore. His real name is Pee Wee Herman. Yeah. We're going to go over to Pee Wee's Playhouse. Kitty-coo. Good evening, Kitty-coo. I hope you had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. Question number 1 of 20. And Tammy Kit. Good evening, Tammy Kit. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. Question number 1 of 20. What was Pee Wee Gaskin's name at birth? All right, the answer to question number 1 is C as in cat. Donald Henry Gaskin. This is actually the wanted poster for Donald Gaskin. You see, it's the picture there. But if you can make that out, it actually says Donald Henry Gaskin Jr. The junior suffix was something that he started using himself. He was not born a junior. It's not on his birth certificate at all. In fact, he didn't start using junior until he was in about the 4th or 5th grade, right in there, is when the earliest records show up that he started using the junior suffix. But Donald Henry Gaskin is how he was born and what's on his birth certificate. There is no junior on there at all. But he was, I guess technically, junior, because when he went to prison the first time, and when he went to reform school, which we'll learn about also, that was later on. Earlier and later on, but he didn't use it at reform school. He used it when he was in prison. The junior showed up on his identification. Question number 2. What state was Donald Henry Gaskin, a.k.a. Pee Wee Gaskin, born in? Was it A, Washington, D.C., B, South Carolina, C, North Carolina, or D, California? What state was he born in? I'm on Top Chat. I see no difference. On Top Chat or Live Chat? There can be a long delay, inner peace, if between some of them. Live chat, top chat, all chat, and not everyone's going to see it. If, on your device, you may only see two options, either all chat or live chat, or you'll see top chat in all chat or some variation of it. I don't know why there is a difference. It's just easier if you're on live chat, because you'll see the questions and comments as they're actually live, as they're being posted. But top chat seems to be the one, if somebody starts to like things, they'll show up on the top. But I don't know. I just use the platform, and then YouTube doesn't explain to me why there's at least 4 different variations of the options for chat. I don't know why. There's a lot of guesses out there, speculation, I guess. E on the set of the Jersey Shore. Lemon pie is very cheap, like Sarah Jessica Parker. To go with all 3. But where was Donald Henry Gaskin born? The correct answer to question number 2 is B as in boy. He was born in South Carolina. South Carolina. Kevin Brand, good evening, all the way from South Carolina. You know lots about Pee Wee. Have the book Final Truth as well. Great read. I just ordered the Final Truth. I ordered a trade paperback. It hasn't arrived yet. Actually, I should say it. I ordered it on Wednesday, and it's supposed to be delivered on Monday. So, unfortunately, that's just the Amazon in itself. But anyways, all right. Question number 3. What age was Donald Henry Gaskin first questioned about a string of felonies, then sent to reform school instead of jail? Was it A, age 13, B, 12, C, 11, D, 10? What age was Donald Henry Gaskin first questioned about a string of felonies and then sent to reform school instead of jail? Question number 3. We got Kitty A. Okay. And Callie Lisa. Good evening, Callie Lisa. A. Pippa Gina Marie and Sal are all going with A. Lemon Pie is going with at the age of 90. Inner P is 144,000 years old. And I hope you had a great weekend, Callie Lisa. Thank you for joining us tonight. Question number 3. What age was he sent to reform school instead of jail? I have the hardback book, and are very hard to find. Saw one on eBay for $3,000. Oh boy, is it one of the first edition hardcovers? I was going to buy it on Alberus, but the book, The Final Truth, totally off subject, but we're talking about it anyways. But the seller actually had a little thing on their thing that they were going to be away until the 4th, which is Tuesday. So even if I ordered it and bought it from them, they wouldn't be able to ship it until like the 5th. So, and I could get it the trade paperback off of Amazon on Monday. But hey, I'll get it eventually though. That's pretty cool though that you have the hardcover, the original cover of it, because there's several different variations of the cover art, and we'll get into that as it goes along. You'll see different examples of it. All right, what age was he sent away to reform school instead of jail? The correct answer is A as in apple. At the age of 13, he was sent away to reform school instead of jail. after the police had questioned him. He'd already had run-ins with law enforcement prior to the age of 13. So it wasn't like, they sent him to reform school because, well, he was a good boy. They already knew he was up to no good. He knew he was up to no good, and he didn't care. That's why they sent him to reform school. You go to reform school or you're going to jail. Those pretty much his options. But that was at the age of 13. Did you know Donald Henry Gaskin, aka Pee Wee Gaskin, is unlike most serial killers? He was a serial killer who had two completely different MOs, modus of operandi. He had his coastal murders that he called them, and then he had his serious murders. Most of his undiscovered murders come from his coastal murders as he traveled. Yes. He had different methods of picking out his victims and everybody and how he dispatched them. And they were completely different from how he did them. Again, coastal and serious murders. Those were his terms. All right, question number 4. What was the major issue that plagued Donald Henry Gaskin his entire life? Was it A, drug addiction, B, anger and impulse control, C, anger and abusive relationships, or D, not having a pet mountain lion? What was the major issue in Donald Henry Gaskin's entire life? They killed in Myrtle Beach. We have 20 trivia questions on tonight, like we always do, but I have close to 40 total ones on Pee Wee Gaskin trivia questions that I wrote out. So we're very well going to do Pee Wee Gaskin trivia night again here. Well, it's going to be sometime this year. It won't be next week, but it's going to come up again because I already have almost enough trivia questions right now that I could definitely use for another Pee Wee Gaskin trivia night. We expect 100% correct answers from you. Compulsive to tear off mattress tags is lemon pie. No, man, removing those mattress tags, that's a felony. Question number 4. The correct answer is C as in cat. Anger and abusive relationships are what plagued most of his entire life. Anger. Yeah, he got angry, and he had no way of stopping himself. I mean, if you look at it, he'd get mad at someone, and it was like he went from 0 to 60, as some people would say, like a hair trigger for anger. But he was also he surrounded himself with abusive relationships his entire life. But anger and abusive relationships. Question number 5. Reform school, state penitentiary. Nothing could keep Pee Wee Gaskin. How did Pee Wee Gaskin escape prison in 1955? Was it A, dressed up as a guard and walked out? B, swapped ID with a visitor? C, climbed over the wall and ran? Or D, he hid inside of a garbage truck? How did Pee Wee Gaskin escape prison in 1955? But that's something I'm going to be interested in reading about, in The Final Truth, the book, Kevin, is how much of his autobiography that he wrote with his co-author, how much of it is, real versus what it was selective by him that he wanted to put in his autobiography. That's going to be the interesting part. It's like, looking at what is known about the man versus like what he actually wanted to talk about, and put in his autobiography. I'm sure there's some things that he wanted to leave out, but unfortunately, again, I couldn't get the book before this trivia night. Should have ordered the book earlier. Should have ordered it like a week ago and then put this subject matter off until next week. The situation baked him a cake with a key in it. Disguised himself as Elvis. Rainbow Nine. Question number 5. How did Pee Wee Gaskin escape prison in 1955? The correct answer is D, as in dog. He hid inside of a garbage truck and escaped prison in 1955. Question 6. Reform school, penitentiary. Nothing could stop Pee Wee Gaskin from escaping. How did Pee Wee Gaskin escape from reform school at the age of 14? Was it A, he hid inside of a garbage truck? B, he climbed the wall and ran away? C, swapped ID with a visitor? Or D, dressed as a guard and walked out? How did Pee Wee Gaskin escape reform school when he was 14? Does have an Elvis thing going on. A little. I think it was more like the hairstyle itself for the time. But I could see that. Elvis was definitely larger than Pee Wee Gaskin. Question number 6 of 20. Kirikou is going with B. Question mark. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. E. He told them he didn't do anything and then just walked out. All right. Question number 6. The correct answer is B, as in boy. He was only gone for a total of 3 days, and then he was brought back to the reform school. But he climbed over the wall and ran and hid in the wooded area that was nearby. And he was ratted out by someone who was walking by, and they saw a young boy in the woods. And that's how he was. And then when they started, searching for him, and they found him. So that's how he was caught from escaping from reform school when he was 14. Did you know Donald Henry Gaskin, aka Pee Wee Gaskin, is believed to have been the inspiration for 31 heavy metal songs, 15 rock songs, 9 rap songs, and 3 R&B songs. That's just the music. I wonder how many movies and other works of art he was inspired. There is even a band that is called Pee Wee Gaskin. I don't know what genre you put it in, maybe hip hop, I guess. But according to the that records that I did online for Pee Wee Gaskin, or just narrowing it down to Pee Wee and then finding Gaskin, he is actually referenced in 31 heavy metal songs, 15 rock and roll songs, and 9 rap songs, and 3 R&B. He is mentioned, either Donald Gaskin or Pee Wee Gaskin is mentioned in all of those. But I wonder how many movies and books and stuff like that, additionally, he was the inspiration for. Question number 7. What is the name of the church that worships Pee Wee Gaskin and the female serial killer Kate Bender? Was it A, the Trinity Church of Enlightenment, B, the Trinity Church of Praise, C, the Holy Gaskin Church of Faith, or D, the Hitchhiker's Church of Praise? What is the name of the church that worships Pee Wee Gaskin and the female serial killer Kate Bender. And neither one of them knew each other. There is no connection between the two of them. He was in an Elvis movie. The other topic with the blood on his face. Some other dude. Church of the Holy Donut. Church of the Holy Donut. Excuse me. Church of Ain't Right in the Head. It says lemon pie. What is the name of the church that worships Pee Wee Gaskin and female serial killer Kate Bender? Got a lot of A's. A, I have no clue. Question number 7 of 20 on Pee Wee Gaskin. Kitty Q, I have no clue. No clue. Don't have a clue. Not on this one. Do. For not having a clue, if you guessed A, you are correct. The Trinity Church of Enlightenment is the name of the church that celebrates Pee Wee Gaskin and female serial killer Kate Bender. Trinity Church of Enlightenment. All right. Now, these are the ones that from here on out, you will see lyrics in with the question. Where you see in the question box there are words that are in yellow in contrast to the actual question itself. So question number 8 says, let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. How many people has Gaskin admitted he killed with details about each one? Was it A, 100, B, 84, C, 32, or D, 91? How many murders did Gaskin admit that he killed with details? Kitty Q. A, I have no clue. Lemon Pie is going with C. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. We got C, C, and C. Catalisa is going with C as well. Kitty, I'll follow suit with C. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Another one. Oh, another one bites the dust. I can't sing, so you don't want to hear that. No, I know the lyrics, but no, a very word of the song. All right, question number 8. The correct answer, unfortunately, is not C. It is B. But they do believe that his body count may be, admittedly close to 100, if not more. But 84 is what he said and gave actual details about 84 different homicides. Do we have any real proof that he killed anywhere near that? No, we don't. That is just what, And like a lot of criminals, when they'll say things that are just for shock and awe, to make themselves out to be a more sadistic individual, to make people scared of them even more. You killed next to 100 people. Oh my. Well, we only know about these. And he would give tiny little details about, and just throw out a name, or a location and say that he killed a woman here, or he killed a person there, or he dumped this person here, and that, but there were never complete confessions where you could say, okay, we can go look in this area for a victim. So it was most likely just smoke, that he was blowing up his co-author of his book, The Final Truth, and along with law enforcement, make himself out to be worse than he really was. But 84 is the real answer. They gave details on 84. But again, they do believe that there, some people that he might have killed over 100. All right. Question number 9. Something takes a part of me. Something's lost and never seen. How old was the youngest victim Pee Wee Gaskin ever killed? Was it A, 2, B, 4, C, 6, or D, 8? That is true, Scotty Nona. Again, in the notes that he, to his co-publisher of the book, The Final Truth, he told him it was over 100, but didn't give details about of a lot of them. He just threw that number out there. And at one point, he actually said, he committed so many he couldn't remember, all the details. I would definitely. I think the number, if his real kill count, I think it would probably be close to 30, but I can't say that for sure because they don't have enough information to say that he really did. Actually, 7 months gestation. I think we would be splitting hairs um, if we talked about unborn, and committing, either a forced abortion or doing something like that. And that's something I don't want to get into. So what we're going to, for references from here on out, if I ever put, the age of someone that was a victim, they must have been born and they must have, lived more than a day or a day, live birth, and then on. But forced, abortions or anything else, we're just not going to touch that subject matter because it's going to upset some people. If I start saying, look, Christopher Watts killed his unborn son. Why wasn't he charged with, another count of murder for his unborn son in the state of Colorado? Because it's not considered a birth is not unborn child is not considered a murder in that state because we had the legal abortions at that time in the state of Colorado. Now, as we know, Roe v. Wade has been struck down since then, but it's still legal in some jurisdictions on the state level. But again, for these questions and from here on out, when I give an age of an individual, they must have been born alive and then had somebody kill them. All right, for question number 9, the correct answer is A as in apple. 2 years old was the youngest victim of Pee Wee Gaskin, Donald Henry Gaskin. Question number 10. Nothing in life is free. What was the name of the man Gaskin murdered while on death row already? Was it A, Tyrone Bixby, B. James Carpenter, C. Rudolph Tyner, or D. Jonathan Davis? Question number 10 of 20. What is the name of the man Gaskin murdered while on death row already? Don't guess A. Don't guess A. Cement shoes, change your answer. Tyrone Bixby is from the Dave Chappelle Show. Lemon pie, don't guess A. Tyrone Bixby was the crack addict that on the Dave Chappelle Show. Dave Chappelle, as a crack addict. His name was Tyrone Bixby. Good evening, Gemma. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. What is the name of the man that Henry Gaskin murdered while already on death row? Question number 10 of 20. And this is one of the other alternate covers of that you see here of The Final Truth, the autobiography of the serial killer. What is the name of the man that he killed while on death row? Question number 10. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Rudolph Tyner was the man he killed while on death row. Okay, now this is another addition to the things that are changing about trivia night. For the next, I'm going to now cover the missing and endangered instead of it being after trivia when everyone is gone and no one wants to watch. I'm not getting enough eyes on the actual content itself. It's moving to the middle of trivia night during break. Break is now 7 minutes long. It is no longer 6 minutes like it was, for the first 300 episodes. But for the next 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to cover the missing and endangered. You can still take the whole 7 minutes and do whatever you need to do, but I will come back before and tell you about what is, how much longer you have of the break. All right. Again, I am excited that I am collaborating with several incredible organizations to help raise awareness and about the missing and endangered individuals from North America. These include the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which tirelessly works to locate missing children and prevents exploitation. The Charlie Project, which is an invaluable database of documenting missing persons cases from around the United States, along with the FBI, which investigates critical cases involving missing persons. NAMUS, the National Center for Missing and Unidentified Persons, which provides tools and resources to solve missing and unidentified persons cases, along with state and local law enforcement agencies in the United States and in the District of Columbia. Starting in the latter part of 2025, that is this year, the year in right now, I'll be working to also with the DOE network to highlight a dozen cases. So I'm bringing on the DOE network of people that I'm also helping that are not currently being spotlighted by the Charlie Project or the FBI. The DOE project mainly works in smaller rural areas that don't get enough attention for people that are been reported missing, or maybe the case has gone cold to the point where no new tips have been called in or reported in years. But that is the DOE network. But that will be later on. It's not right now, but later on this year. Together, we aim to shine a light on these cases and support the families impacted and keep those stories alive in the hopes of bringing resolution. With that said, the first one tonight is Jason David Landry. age 25 as of 2024, was last seen on December 13th of 2020. He vanished from San Marcos, Texas. He has 6'1", 165 to 175 pounds, brown eyes. He has a scar on the left side of his neck from an injury he sustained when he was a teenager. But Landry, Jason David Landry does require corrective lenses to be able to read and see clearly. So wherever he is today, if he would need those to be able to read anything close up or see distance wise. The day he vanished, he was headed to Missouri to visit friends, and he may have been in a small car accident during that trip where no one was injured in that accident. His car was then later found abandoned in an area, along with items from his car were just thrown out along the roadway. They do believe that he walked away from his car shortly after the little minor fender bender, and somebody else took his car and trashed it and then joyrided it around. They do not believe it was Jason David Landry, though. As you can see from the two photos here, and I'm going back now to show you the other ones, he has changed his looks quite a bit over the years. Clean cut, goatee, beard, glasses, long hair, short hair, dyed his hair. Again, if you've seen or know anything about Jason David Landry, you can call 512-398-6777, and you can remain anonymous. Next one is James Eric Bess. He is age 51 now, and he has been missed as of 2024. He was last seen on 10/4 of 1984. He vanished from Ashland, Kentucky. Excuse me. He would be approximately 5'6" today. They're guessing, obviously, this is what he looked like shortly before he vanished. Weight is unknown, but just an average guess would be between 130 to 160 pounds. He has eye color as bluish green. No scars or tattoos were known, obviously, on this child when he disappeared. James and his best friend Chipley Sanders ran away from a group home and have never been seen since 1984. The second photo you see there in the bottom right corner is an age-enhanced photo that is on the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Again, the first photo is what it looked like when he ran away from the group home with his best friend Chipley Sanders. And the second photo is an age-enhanced photo of what he would look like possibly today. Very little information is known about him, but neither one of the two boys has ever been heard from again. And Chipley Sanders is also listed on the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, is on the Doe Network, and they are also on the Charlie Project and the FBI. All those networks are looking for both of them. They don't know what happened to either one of them when they ran away from this group home in 1984. But they do believe at this point, without any tips that have been come in the last 30 years, or more, they believe that something may have happened to both of them, but somebody may have seen them in 1984. Again, in Ashland, Kentucky, is where they both vanished from. Today's headline story does not mean it has to be forgotten tomorrow. Please bring home Orrin and Orson West and others today. We know what happened to Orrin and Orson West. We need people to, step forward. Somebody has seen that, Jacqueline, and them drive off with these two boys, or seen them someplace, or acting suspicious. They haven't come forward yet, and they should, because even the tiniest little piece of information that you may have about what happened in this case could help solve or point law enforcement in the direction. But neither one of them are saying what they did with Orrin and Orson, but we know what the outcome was. We know what they did eventually. We just don't know where their bodies are, and we need to bring them home. Okay, You still have a couple minutes left in your break at this point. So if you need to go, make yourself a sandwich pretty quickly and use the facilities, do whatever. But thank you for, paying attention for those who did stick around to watch the missing and endangered. Again, if something happens to you or your loved one, I would hope that somebody would step forward and call law enforcement if they knew anything that could help bring resolution. There's no reason why people should just vanish from Earth like that with nobody ever calling in or giving a tip. I would hope that would happen with me and my family if somebody went missing. You still have 1 minute and 20 seconds left. And yes, it is sad, Kirikou. Here today and poof, gone tomorrow, and nobody knows anything. You would hope that the criminals themselves, that whoever did, like in the case of the Orrin and Orson West, that they would just say, "Look, we're going to be doing life in prison, with already. We have very little chance of any, chance of getting out. Maybe we should do the right thing now and tell law enforcement where we put them." They could do that, but they don't want to. People don't evaporate, and vanish. Something happened to them. That is true, Mel. And good evening, Mel Stiller. Welcome to tonight's trivia. All right, 10 seconds left. And without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11. You, what do you own the world? Do you own disorder? Disorder? How was Gaskin eventually captured? Was it A, arrested on other charges? B, witness came forward? C, jailhouse snitched on him? Or D, Chad Daybell ratted him out? How was Gaskin eventually captured? Question number 11 of 20. How was Gaskin eventually captured? Lisa's going with A. Lemon Pie is going with C. Kitiku, A question mark. Scary Nona, B. Pippin dot A. Gemma's going with B. What happened to Mike? Thought Mike was here. Mike Stevens. We were talking about the book. Maybe something came up with Mike. Lemon Pie. A lasso. Lasso caught him. The Anna Marie is going with A. A butterfly. Lita. Good evening, Lita. Sorry if I'm not chatting much this week. It's been awful. I am sorry, Gemma. But I'm listening. Well, that's good. I hope things get better for you, sweetheart. I really do. Question number 11. The correct answer is B. A witness came forward, is how he was eventually caught and captured. A witness. Question number 12. While on death row, we learned Gaskin committed another murder. How did he accomplish this? Was it A, he stabbed him, B, he shot him with his own gun, C, he rigged a radio with explosives, or D, poisoned him? Toxicity of our city. Angels deserve to die. Angels deserve to die. While on death row, we learn Gaskin committed another murder. How did he accomplish this? No wonder why people on death row get very little, items nowadays. They eventually learn. Because you're on death row and you're going to die. You ain't got nothing to worry about. What are they going to do? Kill you again? And that is exactly how death row inmates feel. So in a lot of places, when it comes to commissary and things that they can buy on commissary, they're very limited on what they can buy. They're like, oh, well, you can buy all the food you want within reason, but you're not going to buy other items. While on death row, how did Pee Wee Gaskin commit another murder? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is C, as in cat. He rigged a radio with explosives, and when he turned it on, it blew up and killed the other inmate. The other person that killed him committed another murder. But he rigged the radio with explosives. Yep, that happened. He committed another murder while he was already on death row. Question number 13. Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burning with stinging sweat. How was Gaskin executed? Was he A, hung at the gallows, B, electric chair, C, lethal injection, or D, firing squad? How was Pee Wee Gaskin finally executed? Question number 13 of 20. We got Kitaku B, Calisa, and lemon pie with B's as well. Gianna Marie is going with D. So Sketty Nona is going to C. Gemma B. Cement Shoes B. Forced to binge watch the Jersey Shore. Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burning with stinging sweat. How was Gaskin executed? Mel is going with B. The electric zappy zap chair. Was it? Is it New Jersey or New York that had an electric chair that they nicknamed Old Sparky? I think it was one of those two. They were the first ones to nickname the electric chair. But that is how Pee Wee Gaskin was actually executed. Was B as in boy, the electric chair. Alrighty, question number. Did you know by now in trivia night you might be asking yourself, was Gaskin ever institutionalized? He might feel better if he just talked about it. Well, if he got a Pepsi, answer is nope. No one ever reached out to help him or stop what he would go on to do if it was up to the courts and police. They just kept on locking him up instead of getting him help. Even at the, and when he was a young kid, people knew he had problems. He was committing stupid little crimes here and there and getting into trouble and sending him to reform school. But nobody ever said, you know what? Maybe we should look at his home environment. Maybe we should see what he is doing in his spare time because he's definitely got a lot of idle time on his hands, and he's not taking school all that important to him. But nobody ever institutionalized them, and nobody ever, tried to say, we should get you some therapy. Nothing. No one ever tried. That's the way we live in this world. Prison is not about, and jails are not about, making someone better so because they're going to get released, out into the world. It's punishment, and that's all it is. There is no reform anymore. In prisons, a lot of prisons, not all, I can't say all, but in a vast majority of them, they stripped away a lot of the programs that used to be there to help people better themselves, get an education, get, a trade, anything. There are, yes, in a lot of states, there are some programs left still, but those are piecemeal here and there. The federal government and the states don't want to pay for it anymore. Just lock them away, have them serve their time. They get out. They're a convicted felon. They can't get, jobs. They can't get housing. They can't get any kind of assistance, and it just the revolving door just keeps on going around and around and around. In, do your time, come back out, commit more crimes, go back in, over and over again. And it's almost impossible for a lot of these inmates to ever get off of the crazy train of the system. But question number 14. Here they come to snuff the rooster. What unusual behavior did Pee Wee Gaskin have during his final trial? Was it A, he laughed and joked about the murders? B, he picked his nose nonstop? C, he made rooster sounds at witnesses? Or D, he took naps? What unusual behavior did Pee Wee Gaskin have during his final trial? The trouble with is with a lot of criminals have disabilities that are never diagnosed, and they go on to commit crimes. Yes, also Florida and Texas has old Sparky too. I know quite a few places, that I found over the years that, in regards to like the electric chair nicknaming it Sparky. I know that some places that used to use a gas chamber nicknamed it, their gas chamber or the electric chair. And other places have nicknamed the gurneys that they strap an inmate to for lethal injections, or the room. Either they call it the, like I know for in Washington State at the Walla Walla State Penitentiary in Walla Walla, Washington, the execution room where they had lethal injection, they called it the Red Room. Red Room, Red Rum, Red Rum, but not Red Rum, but they called it the Red Room. A lot of places probably do have nicknames for, the guards have always just called it something. And the room at Walla Walla State Penitentiary, where the executions used to take place, the only room that it actually has red in it is in the gallery area that's on the other side of plexiglass away from the inmate, where there was red curtains. It's a white concrete room with red curtains. Now, Washington state, though, abolished the death penalty. Governor Jay Inslee signed it into law that there will never be another execution carried out in the state of Washington. So all the individuals that were on death row at that point, they changed all of their sentences from death sentence to life without the possibility of parole. Per Google, almost every state had the chair. I believe it. And a lot of states, even today, the reason why they're not carrying out executions is the manufacturers. I don't want to mention the name because I'm not sure if I'm actually 100% right on that, but the makers of the phenobarbital refused to sell it to states to use it as a drug as part of the concoction to commit carry out the death sentence. Now the federal government, different story. They have rules and ways around that where they can actually force the manufacturer of those drugs or get another lab, to make the actual drugs for them. So there was a moratorium on it until Donald Trump signed it back into place when he was president the first time around, and then they rushed through, and I think they executed 13 federal inmates. I could be wrong on that. Could be 11, but and so they're going to carry him out again. I don't think anyone was executed underneath Biden, but the rest of them it takes like 30 years once, on average in the federal system for, once you file appeals to, before you can execute. That's the average, 30 years. Some are 20 in the 20s, some are even longer at 35, but the average is 30. All right, question number 14. Now that went on that little tangent. What unusual behavior did Pee Wee Gaskin have during his trial? The correct answer to question number 14 is A as in apple. And I realized just now I'm not in my little window. Hello, I'm in my little window. A as in apple. He laughed and joked about the murders to his attorneys. He had 2 attorneys at his final trial, and he laughed and joked about the murders as if they were nothing. And that was unusual behavior because everyone in the gallery could hear him, and his attorneys would just say, try to keep him, calm down, so he didn't get his ass kicked out of court. But he laughed and joked about him. Question number 15. You've been down too long in the midnight sea. Oh, what becomes of me? Who co-wrote The Final Truth with Gaskin? Was it A, James Cameron, B, Nikki and Laura Dunn, C, Chad Daybell, or D, Wilton Earl? Who co-wrote The Final Truth with Gaskin? Especially here in the UK, we've got lots of them personality disorders or mental health conditions. Criminal systems are not aware, so they get to treat like normal criminals, huh? In America, and this is the sad truth, ladies and gentlemen, and this is not just about Pee Wee Gaskin, but it does, go back to Pee Wee and nobody ever stepping in and helping him, especially when he was younger. But when it comes to jails and the prison system here in America, they are the largest institutional place for mental health are jails and prison systems. When we closed down all those state-run mental health centers, they kicked those people out onto the streets, and some of them they did send to other homes. But a vast majority of them, they just said, nah, you're okay. Here's some medication. Go live your life. And then they ended up on the streets That's where we saw the boom of homelessness in America. Then we saw another boom of homelessness with the drug epidemics, crack, and so on, throughout the years. But we kicked them out on the streets. Now, jails and prisons are, the largest servers of mental health, in America. That we have more people who are in jail and prisons that are on, medication, and some inmates, and I can't say a large percentage of them, but it is probably a large percentage of them. They couldn't get their medications out on the street. If you're schizophrenic, who's going to have schizophrenic medication that they're selling illegally? No one. But if you commit a petty crime and you have schizophrenia and you need your medication, you can't get it any other way. Commit a crime, go to jail, and they give you your medication. You get it right. Maybe you get a month's supply of medication when they release you. That's the sad truth. Co-wrote The Final Truth with Gaskin. The correct answer is D as in dog. Wilton Earl co-wrote the book The Final Truth with Gaskin. Question number 16. What year was Pee Wee Gaskin executed? Down in a hole, losing his soul. Was it 1989, 1991, 1990, or 1988? When was Pee Wee Gaskin executed? Question number 16 of 20. I worked at a state hospital when I was 19. You learned a lot. At 19, were you like a dietitian, a dietary aide? I'm sorry, Sal. I don't know what kind of jobs there could possibly be for someone 19. I'm just guessing and throwing that out there. I mean, that's what I did. I worked at a hospital outside of the Minneapolis area in Minnesota. I worked as a dietary aide. I was basically the person who made the food and brought it to the mental health wards. But they had a mental health floor, and they also had a bulimic and anorexic floor. Man, that shit was sad. Changing it to B. We got B, B, C, B. You're a physical aid. Oh, it's important work. Got to keep them moving. Question number 16 of 20. What year was Pee Wee Gaskin executed? Mel is changing her answer to B as well. And you worked there for 5 years? I was 17 through, 19, somewhere in there, in that age group, 17 to 19, when I worked there at Methodist Hospital outside of the Twin Cities. It's actually closer to St. Louis Park, but I think it might have been in Edina, Minnesota, where Methodist Hospital is. But anyways, my friend's mom got me the job there. She was I think she was a nurse practitioner, but I liked the job. I couldn't drive there every day. I was killing myself. I had a 1965 Buick Wildcat, and it cost me $50 to get it to the gas station and $50 to get it to work. I used to joke. I mean, it wasn't really that bad, but damn, that thing just took so much gas. And I couldn't get away from the damn thing because I couldn't save up any money. Because I was putting it all in gasoline and parts to keep that thing running. But What year was Pee Wee Gaskin executed? The correct answer is B, as in boy, 1991. It was when Pee Wee Gaskin was executed. And this is another variation of the final truth, the cover for the Pee Wee Gaskin autobiography that you see there, the final truth. It's another variation. There's several. Did you know in Pee Wee Gaskin's autobiography, he claimed no remorse for the murders, crimes, and tortures he committed. In fact, he saw himself as a better person than all of his victims. Did you know? Question number 17, and this is another variation of the cover for the final truth that you see there. The man in the box. What was the last thing Donald Henry Gaskin said before being executed? Was it A, kiss my ass? B, I'm ready to go? C, you will never know of all my kills? Or D, Palm 69, 69, 69, 69. What was the last thing Donald Henry said before being executed? You made good money there? Well, that's good. I mean, for a 17-year-old, I never in my entire life have ever worked like fast food or anything, where a lot of teenagers always start off, with a job like that. I mean, I had the first job I had was just a little kid. Could have been 8. I mean, I'm talking about besides working on the family farm. Trust me, as soon as you could work, they found something for you to do. If it was just putting a scoop full of chicken feed in the chicken coops or whatever, you did something. You pulled your weight around on the family farm. But off of the farm, the first job I had was probably 8 years old. I worked for a company, a construction company. They were knocking down old brick buildings in town, and after as the wrecking ball would tear the building down, I would go through and sort the bricks, reusable bricks, broken bricks, and stack the usable ones up in a pile, all by themselves, nice and neatly, so they could come by and pick them up with like a forklift thing. And that's what I did, and I got paid per pile. I think they had to be 10 rows high. So if I made 10 rows by 4 bricks by 6 bricks. So first job I had off the farm. And I never worked in fast food. All my siblings did at some point. Pigeon Mac, good evening. Good evening to you, Pigeon Mac. Question number 17 of 20 on Pee Wee Gaskin. What was the last thing Donald Henry Gaskin said before being executed? The correct answer to question 17 is B, as in boy. I'm ready to go. The whole thing that he said was, I will let my attorneys speak for me. I'm ready to go, is what he said. But I'm ready to go is the last thing he said before being executed. Come on. Question number 19. And again, this is another variation of the cover of the book, The Final Truth. When asked by his co-author during his work on his autobiography, what did Gaskin say he missed the most about being free, a free man? What did he say he missed about being free? Was it A, hot pizza, cold beer? B, his hearse car and cruising around? C, the feeling of killing? Or D, Christmas trees and Christmas time? Oh, plus you got a free dormitory. That'd be cool. Kitty Q's going with B, question mark. When asked by his co-author during his work on the autobiography, what did Gaskin say he missed most about being a free man to Pigeon Max going with C. Gaddy Nona is going with B. J. Anna Marie is going with C. Callie Lisa going with A. Question number 19 of 20 on Pee Wee Gaskin. Cement Shoes is going with A. Meep, meep, meep. Just meep. Not meep, meep anymore. Just meep. Good evening and welcome to Trivia. We're almost done with it, but you're more than happy to watch it and rewind. I hope you had a great weekend, though. Question number 19. The correct answer is B as in boy. Yes, Pee Wee Gaskin had a hearse car that a mortuary would use for funerals. He had one that he drove around and cruised around in, and that's what he missed the most, was just being free to drive around and cruise around in his car. Just being free to do whatever he wanted. Question number 20. What makes Gaskin one of the most infamous serial killers in U.S. history? Was it A, the brutal methods, kill count, and no remorse? B, no remorse and joked about it all? C, his kill count and Hollywood glamorized him? Or D, all of the above? What makes Gaskin one of the most infamous serial killers in U.S. history? Reichardt, just joining in, guys. I thought you were live just 20 minutes ago. I'm sorry. Late, I'm sorry. That's all right, Reichardt. You can always watch and rewind. You missed trivia again? Now, write it on a post-it note and stick it next to the device you always watch on, or set an alarm. Every Sunday night at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States. Set an alarm, write a post-it note, write it on the calendar. Sunday night, it's always the same time. But I understand we all live busy lives and things get in the way. And I don't always remember, when I have to do a lot of things too. So it's understandable, Meep. But we're glad you're here anyways. Ooh, Rackar says, watching the Jersey Shore reruns. That's what made him one of the most infamous serial killers in U.S. history. Question number 20 of 20. Pee Wee Gaskin. What makes Pee Wee Gaskin one of the most infamous serial killers in U.S. history? The correct answer is D as in dog. The brutality of his murders, his kill count and lack of remorse, along with Hollywood actually glamorized him. And like as we went over earlier, people have written so many songs about him or based characters, in different movies and books and stuff on him. But Pee Wee Gaskin, you may be wondering, why did they call him Pee Wee in the first place? It was because of his small stature. He was a very short man, but that was a nickname that was given to him by others and his friends, and family. They called him Pee Wee, or, well, unfortunately, he has the same nickname as my son, Tiny Man, but that was one that his family gave him, was Tiny Man. But others called him Pee Wee. But Pee Wee Gaskin, that's how he got the nickname Pee Wee. But his full name is Donald Henry Gaskin. And again, later on in life, he added the junior suffix to it. All right. So you might be asking yourself right about now, what methods did Pee Wee Gaskin use to kill so many? He used all of the following. He stabbed some, he drowned, he poisoned, and he shot them. Again, there was nothing off the table when it came to how he was going to kill you. And again, here is a link to the Amazon hardcover. At Amazon, they have the book, The Final Truth, with this cover for $30 plus shipping and handling. Obviously, not the same edition that that Mike Stevens probably has. Is probably a much later edition hardcover, but you can, if you're after the fact, or maybe even now, you can click on that if you want to buy it for $30. I make nothing from telling you about the book. It's just for your information. If you want to pick up the book, they do have it in paperback, mass market paperback, trade paperback. You can even get it on your Kindle download if you want. All right, self promotion, harmless promotion. Did you know that I have the 411 now mugs that are 100% black inside and out? There is no like black only where the printing is. This is 100% black. It is $15.99 plus shipping and handling, and that price for that mug is way below what your other creators out there in the true crime genre are pricing their mugs at. Most people who are on YouTube and are selling coffee mugs or and alike are selling them at $24 and up. And I can tell you off the top of my head, of 6 different creators who are in the true crime genre who have their mugs priced at $21 to $27. But I only sell them for $15.99. That's exactly 9 cents over the actual cost. So, and if they're getting them from the same supplier I am, then that's what they're paying. And everything else up is what they're actually charging you and making a profit on. I'm not trying to make a profit other than to pay for the stupid artwork that I have to pay for. All right. How did you do on tonight's trivia? Did you get an A, B, a C, a D, or E, other? And you'll notice that also when it comes to the letter grades, again, this is completely optional. You do not have to give yourself a letter grade. Some people like to do this. They like to keep track of how they did. You'll notice that all of the grade levels have changed. A used to be 19 or 20 only would get you an A, but it's now 17 to 20. And B, C, and D have all changed, for what actually qualifies as those grades levels. And that was because of a viewer suggestion that I change it. Just because I missed 2 doesn't mean I should get a B. Okay, yeah, you did get a 90%, but okay. So I changed it. Again, completely optional. You don't have to. So now you want to know our sneak peek question, the poll question that'll be on the community tab this week. And this is in advance notice, 24-hour advance notice. So you don't have to answer it now. You can answer it, in the community tab on YouTube. But the poll question is, should states that enforce the capital punishment be allow inmates to choose how they actually are executed? Should states that actually enforce the capital punishment, should they allow the inmate to choose? Most states have 2 options. Some have 3 or 4 options. There are states that do have 4. So I'll give you an example. In the state of Idaho, where Lori and Chad Daybell will spend the rest of their pathetic lives, they have 3 options in the state of Idaho for execution. The first one is lethal injection. If they're unable to procure the actual drugs to carry out the lethal injection, the second option in the state of Idaho is firing squad. Yes, they brought back firing squad to be the second option. It's not the third option, it's the second option. And the third option is the gas chamber. In the state of Idaho, they have all three options. In the state of Washington, before Jay Inslee, the governor, abolished the death penalty, the options were lethal injection, hanging, and firing squad. But now the state of Washington has no state executions at all anymore. But should they allow it? A, yes. B, no. C, maybe. Or D, no opinion on this. I like puppies, though. You don't have to answer the question now. You can on Monday on the community tab. Again, thank you for playing along tonight. And that is the trivia night for Pee Wee Gaskin. B, a big no. I'm going to say it now, and I'll put it out there later. No, they didn't give their victims a choice, and they shouldn't get one either. Okay. Their victims, and then Callie Lisa says, the victims didn't get to choose how they die, so they shouldn't get one either. Very understandable. There are a lot of countries in this world, though, that have abolished the death penalty on the federal level and state level. They have no capital punishment at all. A lot. Well, you're welcome, Lemon Pie. I'm glad that everyone was here tonight for trivia. And if you came in late, I hope you'll watch it later on and rewind. Again, we're only playing for fun and for entertainment. But sometime this week, either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, one of those days, I'm going to do an extra live stream. I don't know what day it is going to be. It all depends on when I find the availability to be able to do it. And it's all because of a viewer suggested question. Now, I've gotten this question quite a few times over the course of the last 6 years. And I shot an entire video of this, and I was going to make it a video. The video was about 20 minutes total length. But the question was, I'll read you the question so you guys know if you're interested in actually trying to find the live stream. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it. I just have to do it as a video because I tried to upload it, and it kept on telling me that it was unable to process it because apparently YouTube doesn't like killers and stuff like that. But this is the question that I received recently, and this is what spawned me to make this video. Rank these serial killers on a comprehensive evaluation of their psychological complexity, brutality, victim count, modus of operandi, and overall impact. And then, of course, the person then went on to say, I know you're not a professional in the field of psychology, but you've done an awful lot of research on these killers. And then they gave me 14 serial killers. Where do I personally rank these 14 serial killers? And that's what the stream is going to be about. So it's going to be sometime this week. Do it, Cat Orange listening. But again, I don't know what day it's going to be. I can't say it's going to be Tuesday. I can't say it's going to be Thursday. I'm shooting for it, and I'm trying. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, whatever, throw some salt over the shoulders or whatever. I'm hoping that I can do it on Thursday, but it all depends on how things work, and if I have enough availability, in the day. I have to have the time to be able to do it. So, and I always give so much time in the day. I block out for time to be with my son. before school, after school, helping him with his homework, getting him situated. And then if I have somebody here, like either my mother-in-law, my wife, or my daughter, if she's in town or not busy, to be able to sit with him while I do these streams. So, but he's more important, at least to me. I know it's great to be able to do these. Because I wouldn't miss these Saturdays or Sundays for anything. Oh, Pee Wee hers. There was a sticker that said, "I haul the dead bodies." Yep. And he told people that he had his own private cemetery. And I guess all of that's true. Technically, I haul dead bodies, and I have my own private cemetery. It'll be a surprise. Yes, it will. And then if you don't see it, you can always watch it and rewind on where I rank these 14 serial killers. Do you want to know who's on the list of the 14 serial killers that I was asked about? Do it. All right. Well, here are the 14 serial killers that I was asked to rank from worst on. And again, if I'll tell you now, it's impossible to rank, serial killers on some of the criteria. You have to break it down into psychological fear factor, how they changed laws, how every society was changed for the better after these people were caught. Because you can't like say, look, this person killed 5 and this person killed 17. So the person who killed 17 is obviously worse than the guy who killed 5. But I had to take the body count aspect out of it and just go by fear and how it changed society forever. Maybe laws were changed, in some aspects. But these are the 14 serial killers that they asked me to rank from worst to least worst. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Richard Ramirez, Dennis Rader, Israel Keys, Samuel Little, Ed Kemper, Rodney Alcala, Paul Bernardo, H. Holmes, Charles Cullen, Robert Yates, and Herbert Mullen. Those are the 14 serial killers that they asked me to rank, again, from worst to the least worst. Because they're all despicable individuals. But again, I had to take and say, well, okay, obviously I can't rank it by body count. If you killed 14 and the other guy killed 13, or this guy killed 14, you killed 14, but you both said you killed 155, how am I supposed to base it on that? And so obviously I took the body count out of it, and then I had to rank them by how did their crimes affect society, and were laws changed and everything else. But again, it's going to be about a 20-minute, maybe a half-hour stream total. It took me 20 minutes to make the video itself is 20 minutes, but I'm going to answer the question finally, because I've been asked variations of this story, questions in the comments, and I've gotten emails about it as well, or messages on Facebook messages. Hey, can you rank this killer or this killer? Is this one worse than this one? That's hard to really answer the question when you think about it. Just think of these two killers. Who's worse? Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy? Well, we know John Wayne Gacy killed more than Ted Bundy. But which one had more of an effect on society? Which one had effects on changing laws? Which one instilled more fear in society? If think of it that way, that's a lot easier to break it down on which one, caused more, more fear, and change laws. Dahmer, Bundy for sure. Yeah, fear. If you, I thought about doing it on just fear alone, Kitty Coo. You know, but some of them had a definite effects where they, their crimes changed laws on how people were reported missing. How law enforcement looked at people who were in um, on the edges of society. Let's say that. You know, look, when it came down to it, a lot of times before the mid 1980s, early 1990s, if you were a prostitute walking the street or a drug addict out there in America and you're female and you were in these risky, positions, law enforcement didn't really care. Oh, look, it's just another dead hooker. Oh, look, it's just another dead drug addict. And and then trying to get them to want to investigate your homicide, uh, it didn't happen a lot of times. And if they did, they didn't put a heck of a lot of effort or time into it. But those things have changed, and for the most part now that it's not, we don't look at, okay, we look at it, this is what the person did that may have gotten them murdered, or this is who they may have known. We use it as a way of and bringing up leads and connections to try to solve the crime, whereas before it was like just another dead hooker, just another dead prostitute, another dead runaway. So things have definitely changed for the better. And it's made the disappearances, for a lot of these individuals, um, easier to catch serial killers. Well, so which one is the ugliest? Are we going by basis of looks? Are you asking that right, Cart? Or which one was the ugliest, as in who do I think is the worst of the worst? Well, for that answer, you're going to have to, catch the stream. On looks, you can't take, today's, looks and say, look, this person looks awful to me in today's society. You have to think about the time and the place. Like Rodney Alcala, in the 1970s, disco era, Rodney Alcala fit in like a gem. And he looked like, someone that a lot of women would want to go out on a date with. He won the dating game, on TV. Lucky for her, she didn't go out with him because she got a creepy vibe from him. Good thing. But, he was an attractive man in the 1970s. Ted Bundy, in his time in the early 80s, I mean, he was an attractive man, who a lot of women would like to see, have next to them. Same thing with John Wayne Gacy. When Gacy was younger, before he became, the individual, you see it at the end of his life when he was killing, where he was heavier set and his, starting to, his hair was thinning and stuff like that. He still was somewhat attractive, but he was not anywhere near what he was like back when he was partying with Rosalind Carter, and he had other politicians wrapped around his finger because he could do things for him. And people were flocked to him. They looked up to him. So you have to take each one by the era of when they were actually killing and who they were. But there's some of them that are on the list there. I don't know. Was H. Holmes ever considered an attractive man? I don't know. I mean, Richard Ramirez, certainly not. I mean, before he got his dentures and his teeth fixed, I don't think anybody really would have said Richard Ramirez was a good looking man. But Samuel Little, he looked like a freaking pimp his entire life until he was actually caught and put into prison in California. He looked like a pimp every time he got out. That's what he looked like. He looked like a pimp. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia there. Again, just kind of look out for, I will put an advance notice out of when the stream is. I'll put it in the community tab like, hey, it's going to happen Tuesday, or it's going to happen Thursday or Wednesday or Friday, whatever it might be. But I will try to put advance notice, at least, somewhat of a notice out. I can't say it's going to be a day. It might only be like 10 hours advance notice of when the stream is, but just check the community tab. Again, tomorrow on YouTube, in the community tab, you will see the same poll question about should inmates be allowed to choose their method of dying. That'll be the poll question tomorrow on the community tab. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. I appreciate everyone being here tonight for trivia night, and I hope that every one of you, has a wonderful week ahead. Reichardt, you stay safe on those roads out there across America, okay? Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a great week. Bye.